all about triads. And we're going to learn some killer movable shapes for major and minor triads. And I'm going to show you how you can move these around without changing the fingering for certain ones. And you get all kinds of killer sounds and tones, and triads are great. If you don't know what a triad, by the way, all a triad is a 3-note chord. And we're going to learn in this lesson, I'm going to show you major and minor triads with roots on the B string. And in the next lesson, I'll show you the major and minor triads with roots on the high E and the G strings. These are so useful. I'll also play some rhythm guitar behind it and loop it, and then show you how you can use these to help create songs and melodies. And these will just get the ideas churning in your head. They're easy to move around, and these are just some basic ones that every guitar player should have in their arsenal. There's basically 4 different kinds of triads. There's major, minor, diminished, and augmented. Diminished and augmented you may not use a lot, so I want to concentrate more on the ones you're going to be using. The major triad being a 1 or root, a major third, and a fifth. Just those 3 notes out of the major scale in any key will get you the key of the chord. And the minor triad, the only difference is the 3rd note is flatted, so it's a 1 or root, flat 3rd, and 5th. Major triad, minor triad. And I don't want to bog you down with a lot of theory. I want to get you playing the guitar, having fun, creating music. And so we're going to take these triads and I'm going to give you some progressions with them, and we're going to make some music with them. It's so important, like I always say, when you're learning chords or new chords or triads or whatever, to put it in a musical context. Make sure you're making it sound musical. Otherwise, if you're just learning them just to learn them and you have no application for them, you're just going to forget them, right? These are great little 3-note chords, and you're going to have a lot of fun with them. So let's start with the major triad shape that's on the B string root. That B string, wherever, and we're going to use our 3rd finger for that. And basically, all the triad is for a major triad on the B string root is, like an open D chord, right? Open D major. Probably one of the first chords you learn, right? Everybody knows that chord. Okay, if you do not play the open D string, so we're just going to play the G, the B, and the E. That's the shape, and you'll see that in the little box here. This is the shape of a major triad. That's a 1, 3, and 5. Now, our 3rd finger is on the root note, which is D. So this is a D triad. Now, if you move that up, let's say 2 frets or a whole step, now our 3rd finger is on E. But we keep this voicing shape the same. We now have an E triad. If we go up a half step, F triad, F major triad. Go up a whole half step again, F sharp. Now G, I'm at my 3rd finger is on the 8th fret of the B string, and that's a G major triad. You notice the shape stays the same the whole time. If I move it up to the 10th fret, what note is that? Quick quiz. What note is this on the 10th fret of our B string? Did you get it? It's an A. So if I play that 3-note shape that looks like a D major chord shape on the 10th fret root with my 3rd finger, it's an A major triad, B major triad. Okay, so that's the major triad. It's just this little D chord shape that we can move around. And if you want to get comfortable to move this around, just a simple little progression, let's go D, then move that, slide your whole hand up, and we are on now F major triad. That's the 6th fret with our 3rd finger. And then after that, go up a whole step to G major triad. So the progression will be D to F to G. So it'll sound like this, and practice it like this, just an easy strum pattern. Easy, right? That's just a little practice to get you keeping that hand in that same shape as you move through these major triads on the B string root. Now, something that's kind of cool with this is on this particular one, you could also play that open D string and have that ringing as like a drone note. So you have that's actually a D major chord, and then you have your F major triad, but with the D, open D will be F over D. See, it still sounds pretty cool. Same thing with the G, but it's a G in the bass, so it's like it's a slash chord. It would be your G major triad slash D. So listen how that sounds. Pretty cool, right? And so find some of those good sounding major triads and practice moving them around. Now, a quick thing that you could do to add interest is embellish it by, and it works with every one up and down the neck in this shape, is use your pinky like on the D chord. Remember in an earlier lesson how I told you you could make that D? By adding your pinky you can make it a suspended fourth chord. But guess what? That works for all the major triads. Like if I move it up to F, see how adding that pinky, or G, A, that's going to add so much. You can almost hear the melody kind of kicking off in your head, right? When you're playing the, you can do it while you're arpeggiating it. You can do it with a pull off, with the pinky, or strum it, add it, take it off. G, major triad. Add the pinky. Take it off. Back to D, major triad. Such a cool thing you could do. So now you know a major triad on this B string root for basically every key, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and all the sharps and flats, right? Just by moving that shape. Let's do the same thing with a minor triad. Minor triad on the B string root. And it's basically the same template as we did for the major, whereas in the major we use this major triad, we use this D chord shape. Let's use the D minor chord shape. You'll see it right here. Remember that chord? That's our D minor chord. We play with that open D string. But now what we're going to do is just play the top three strings, and that becomes our minor triad shape. And again, the root is on the B string, so this would make a D minor triad. If I move that up to F, which again is at the 6th fret, same shape as I was playing down here, just slide it up. Now I have an F minor triad. If I was to slide that back a half a step, E minor triad. Same shape, I'm just sliding it around. If I slide it all the way up to our 10th fret, remember what's our root note with our third finger there? Remember we had that test? That's an A note, A minor triad. There's our G minor triad. You can hear the minor triad because of that flat third. It's a darker sound, right? And works for all of them. Easy. And the great thing is that you could add that pinky embellishment again on this one, much like we said we could do with the D minor, right? Adding that pinky to the high E string, right? And that kind of makes that chord, again, that D suspended fourth. Check it out. I'm up here on the F minor triad, and I'm adding that pinky on the high E string right underneath that third finger, right? You see it there on D. If I go up to A, I'm just arpeggiating, add the pinky, pull it off. Right? You could do that with any one of these minor triads. Okay? It's such a great thing to do because it adds melody and it adds interest by embellishing the triad. So now you know a major triad and a minor triad on the B string. Let's mix them together in a progression, and I'll show you some things that you could do with these. And I want you to come up with your own progressions, right? So let's do this. Let's play an A minor triad. Our third finger is on that A note at the 10th fret. And we're going to now slide back to a G major triad. You could leave that third finger down as a guide finger when you're changing, because that's going to stay on the root. Now we play our G triad shape, right? A major triad shape, which looks like the D chord. So we go A minor, G major. Then let's slide down to our E minor triad shape. Our third finger's on the 5th fret. That's our E note on the B string. And then to D, D major triad. Let's run those changes through and practice them slow like this with a strum, any strum pattern you want. Nice and slow. I won't do any embellishments, just so you can hear the change. Here's the A minor triad. To the G major. To the E minor. To the D major triad. and then it repeats. So now I'll add the pinky embellishment, and I'll go through it twice. The first time I'll arpeggiate it more and strum it, and the second time I'll strum it more and arpeggiate it. Listen to the differences and listen to these embellishments. Same progression. Isn't that beautiful? Then it sounds like we're doing a lot more than we really are. We're just playing a major and minor triad progression, and we're adding the pinky embellishment, and we come up with this great sounding music, right? And with melody. So I want you to practice that, find other progressions, and just find the minor and major triads on the B string root using those shapes for the minor triad and the major triad, and mess around with it, right? Let me show you one more thing you can do. A great thing also about triads is because you're playing on the high 3 strings only, you get that very different timbre than if you were playing the full-on chords. So like, let's say you want to practice these, but maybe have another guitar player playing the open chords behind you. Maybe you're jamming with your friends and you say, hey, let's see what music we can create. Or maybe you just want to practice with a looper pedal creating or writing some songs, right? So an easy way to do that is we'll just use that same progression, the A minor triad to the G major triad to the E minor triad to the D major triad. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the actual chords. A minor, G major, playing the full open chords. E minor, D major. Right? That's in the key of A minor. Because a lot of times too, if you're playing with someone else or jamming with someone else, you don't always want to be playing the exact same things, right? Maybe one person could do a melody line over the chord. So what I did was I got that progression laid down on my looper pedal, and I'm going to play it. And then while that pedal's going, I'm going to play the corresponding major triads and minor triads over the corresponding major and minor open chords. Listen to how it sounds. I'm going to do it with pinky embellishments, and I'm also going to try to create a melody line. Check it out. Pretty cool, huh? They see what you could do just with a few minor and major triad shapes. Try them over different chord progressions and lay down. Get yourself a looper pedal. You can pick up a Boss looper pedal. This one I'm using is the Loop Station RC3. It's a red pedal. Digitech makes a Jam Man pedal. They're all great, but they'll really help you in your practicing and your songwriting. You can lay down jam tracks and loop stuff back and practice your chord progressions and practice coming up with melody lines on top of it. It's an invaluable tool. This is just to get you started, right? Because in the next lesson, I'm going to show you some minor and major triad shapes off of the high E string and off of the G string. And those are really cool to add to your arsenal also. So practice these, practice them with another guitarist, practice them with the looper pedal, come up with your own progressions, move these around, make them sound musical, and keep on rocking. We'll see you in the next lesson, which will be part 2.